both of the fights, I don't know if they resolved it or killed each other.
Either way, it's
As
done.
long as they're quiet, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they don't hit me at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
You'll figure out if anyone got killed if you see a meat wagon out front at some point.
this is gonna sound weird, but I've kind of got a
Both of the fights, I don't know if they resolved it or killed each other.
Either way, it's
as long
done.
as they're quiet, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they don't hit me at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
You'll figure out if anyone got killed if you see a meat wagon out front at some point.
this is gonna sound weird, but I've kind of got the girls in trouble blues, if that makes any sense.
What?
You
What
know
are you
how
talking about?
there are different levels of blue. There are different kinds of blues, right?
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
I got the My Human Gets Me blues.
Yeah, I got not a girlfriend, but I guess a lady friend who got herself a DUI earlier this week, and when she got contempt of court like several years ago, because she was fed up with a fiance no showing for court. I'm not mentioning her name or anything specific, so I can talk about this. I think I asked her point blank, and this is going to sound weird, but it's like I tortured myself for a year wondering, because I can't imagine it happening to her, because I've liked her on and off, and let's just say I've gotten her lipstick on me a few times, and I can't bear the thought of her getting strip searched. And I asked her when she got contempt of court, did that happen? And it's like I was almost like, I was hoping inside that she was going to say no, and she did. And I don't know if I believe it, but now she got a DUI, and I know it sounds weird and almost, like perverted, but it's like I asked her the same thing. If they didn't do it this time, did they? And she said no. And now I definitely don't believe her. It's just the thought of it. It almost feels like such a thing would corrupt her, because she's like seriously beautiful, and she's got a lot on her as a single mom, and it probably happened though, didn't it?
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, Jeremy, why that thought affects you more than just the thought of her getting in a DUI and potentially endangering herself or getting her children killed. Not saying that strip searches are ever good or justified or pleasant or anything. I know, it's definitely not cool. But what I am saying is that I think, it's not to say that something would corrupt someone. I think maybe a better word is traumatize someone. I think it might be very affecting and traumatic to receive that kind of a treatment.
It would be. Well, maybe not if it were a female officer, but if it were,
I think it's still designed to be, kind of an abjectly humiliating experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably more the purpose of it than anything practical.
The thing is, there are people who would sneak things in. I understand, but I would hope that they'd be able to tell and use discretion. Although you can never tell with some people, but why does it bother me more? Because she's been kind of wild for years, and this has never happened to her. So it's like functional. It's functional, a functional kind of behavior until now. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something. Why do you suspect she was strip searched in connection to a DUI?
Because I heard that they do that to everybody. So you don't think they did?
Yeah, I don't think so necessarily.
Yeah, she might have been patted down for a weapon, but they don't typically take people's clothes off unless they think they have drugs or a bomb or yeah, it's not standard procedure.
They also got her for possession. That's the thing.
I mean, I've had my house drug busted and they didn't strip search us. They just they scared us. They waved guns in our faces at like 6 a.m. I probably could have gotten my head blown off if I hadn't figured out what was going on.
Reading that, what happened to Electra in your book days before it happened did not help.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to plant
synchronicity there. There's a weird
synchronicity
there, you know.
That is really weird. But what I'm saying is, even if they're looking for drugs, strip searching people is actually pretty rare.
Really? Or are you just telling me what I want to hear? Like I think she.
No. I'm saying I've had my house like there was a warrant for a raid. I mean, they were 6 months. They got there 6 months after we threw the guy they were looking for out for throwing his girlfriend at the wall. We didn't know he was a mafia drug dealer.
Oh,
but even though they thought they were going to find like 50 kilos of marijuana and didn't find, they found one of my roommates had like, a thumbnail sized portion of marijuana stuffed in his coat or something. Like, even though they spent 10 grand doing this and were desperate to find anything, they still didn't strip search anybody on a drug warrant. So the likelihood that she got strip searched for a DUI pickup is incredibly low. I mean, that would have to be an obscenely fucked up police department.
They probably did make her change into one of those smocks in the shower, out of the shower, though, right?
What?
Well,
did they take her to the police station?
I spent the night in a drunk tank and they still made me change in that fucking orange thing.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, if you're institutionalized anywhere, they'll make you put on some stupid clothes, but usually they won't dress you. They'll let you undress yourself and redress yourself.
Okay. Yeah, but they put you in a small room with like 10 other people, but yeah, they don't do it to you.
Yeah. The chances that she got strip searched or undressed by a cop are just, I mean, in the current climate, that police department would have been eviscerated already.
How? What, human rights?
Well, this is the one year that if you're going to expose your local police department for being a bunch of abusers or perverts, this would be the year you would have done it. Yeah. So
that's its thing. I'm not all fuck the police. See, and I know that Ben is. I used to think and talk like that for these same reasons because I resent that. But I found a way for both feelings to coexist. Because if someone were attacking my family, it rested between an officer being nearby or me defending myself, killing them, and having to go to jail for self-defense because, society is fucked up like that. I would rather the officer, save the day. But see, I also understand that, that these things happen to people who don't deserve it, for one, may not have done anything, or it's a trumped up charge. It's like the same charge repeated in like told in three different, ways of terminology. Same thing with three different terms, to represent the basic thing. They do that a lot,
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much what most of those kind of charges are. Like any kind of like ticket or DUI is basically the equivalent of turning you upside down and grabbing you by your ankles just to shake any pocket change you have out of you.
Right. But the one thing they're probably not going to do on a DUI is a strip search. So I think.
Yeah, probably not.
I think you probably shouldn't torture yourself about it. She's probably telling you the truth. I don't know this person.
I don't know why I do torture myself about it.
And I'll take more drugs.
that's
I don't think
the
any
solution
of us
to every problem.
More drugs.
That's the solution to every problem.
The last time I tortured myself for like a year and a half before I asked her. And this time, I just asked her point blank the next time I saw her, and yeah, it's just I can't bear the thought of it. Now I don't condone the DUI, and I would never get behind the wheel, even on one beer. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
that
but still,
that is,
they don't.
I would never, not even on one, I wouldn't risk it. Alcohol wise, but I, there's a part of me that doesn't care. It's like get away from her, kind of, you know, that kind
Yeah,
of feeling.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we all worry about our friends, but I just don't think that's a very likely occurrence.
Okay, all right. Well, I can rest a little better. I can live with that since I've heard the word no from a few people now.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of us having actually been in a drug bust and being allowed to, I kept my clothes on. I went. They did make me change clothes in jail, but I got to change myself,
Okay.
and I was never cavity searched. None of that.
That the the idea that you have no longer have a choice, that you have to
Yeah, it sucks.
basically get into your birthday suit. That
Yeah.
that
Well, yeah.
concept
Again,
is like,
it
even as
the
a
point of it
male,
is to.
yeah, even as a male, that like I don't know what to do with that. Like I didn't even change I didn't even like change in gym class. That's how much I wanted to avoid others. Uh, so it's like, yeah, I can't fathom it at all.
Yeah.
So I have
Well,
a lot of, you know, it affected me more than it did her, to tell you the truth. She's joking about it with everybody. Everybody's joking about it with her, you know. And I'm like the only one that's like saying, hey, that they seriously, that bruise on your arm from where they took blood looks fucked up. They seriously got a knot there, and I'm buying antibiotic ointment for her and everything. I mean, I am taking it worse than she is. What the fuck,
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
that's a good sign, but
Nah. I think you're a very caring person, Jeremy, and I think it's important to not try to get whipped up in these caregiver roles with people who are difficult. I think that there are some very difficult people in the world, and I think you really have to be careful about who you're spending your emotional energy on and whether or not they're giving you enough back to kind of justify that sort of opinion.
And
So
there's a case of she's an adult woman. She ultimately has to make her own decisions and has to deal with shit that happens to her in her own way.
yep.
I understand that, yeah, and yeah, something very bad could happen when you take that chance. Yes, and has happened. Killing, could take out some baby in a passenger seat or something. Yeah, I don't know how bad she was. I haven't probed that far into it. I don't know how drunk she was. But
Yeah, and I'm not
they were
saying
going to let her go until they searched and found a baggie. They were going to let someone take her home until then. And of course, I don't know how this works in other states, but here, if you do not consent to a car search, then you just stay there and wait for them to get a warrant. So, I mean, you can't leave, you know, because they've already pulled you over. You know what I'm saying? If you say,
well, right. Yeah.
if I do not consent to a search, okay, well, then we'll get a warrant. Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that up to like the cops' discretion whether they decide whether they want to bother with one or one? Is the void boy.
I'm
Is the
digging
void boy.
the Izzy cam.
that's right. Easy show.
How old is he?
Boop.
I don't know. I think he's about probably 4 years old, maybe 5. We got him when he was maybe about 2 to 3, so it's hard to say for sure. But we've had him 2 years, and he was an adult when we got him. Maybe kind of late teenage years. I'm really not sure. He seems still younger though. He acts very kittenish, and that makes it hard to pin down his age.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
he's
very.
so cute.
He's like totally black. You see,
Yeah,
a lot of black cats have a white patch for some reason, but he's like
has-
solid black.
he has 5 little white hairs on his chest, and that's like the only discernible white part, except for where he got neutered, and that's a little bit white too. So
He's a little void boy.
Look at him. Aw.
sorry, I didn't mean to distract the conversation.
Oh, we always like to look at cats.
Yeah, that makes me
Yeah.
feel better, actually.
Everybody
Yeah, your friend didn't get strip searched, and there's a cat.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah,
what's
this is always a cathartic experience, you know, because I'm antisocial the rest of the week. So
yeah, I've just been busy as shit with work. I've been doing a lot of overtime,
Mhm.
and then I'm working on my book of plays.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna right after this. Actually, I feel like I've got enough like storytelling fuel from these like emotions that I can probably get some work done tonight. You know, after I download this, make sure you know the file is saved and everything. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between working on Blobwick and watching Die Valkyrie while I can.
It's up tonight and I think tomorrow until about 3 p.m. Pacific time.
And it's how
Oh,
long?
okay.
What's
How
that?
long is the specific one?
Valkyrie is I want to say about 4 hours.
Okay.
Now is it in? It's in English or is it in German? This version.
It's in German with English subtitles.
Okay, great. Subtitles I can deal with.
Right, and I just actually found a Kindle version of the libretto for $9.99. I was actually accidentally looking on the Amazon Estonia site, which is why it was $100.
Well, that's yeah.
Whoops, I've got mustard greens in my teeth. Wow.
Yeah. So
Speaking of-
what's go ahead.
Speaking of juxtaposition of classy shit with unclassy shit, I was all dressed up at the beginning of the episode, and now I'm like, you know, no lipstick, mustard greens in my teeth, curled up with my blankie in a beanbag.
Yeah, it's time to get cozy. It's the end of the night, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is cold to you? 50 degrees, 60 degrees over in California.
Yeah,
That's cold
Yeah.
to you, boy. You
I've
would
gotten
last
spoiled.
here. You would not last
And
here.
here in Des Moines, Iowa, it is currently -9 degrees.
Damn.
That's ridiculous.
and you're in Iowa.
So,
Why don't you
but,
move? Dude? That's insane.
which, speaking of which, because of the extreme temperatures, you know, it's severely affected the homeless population here. There was someone who froze to death in a porta potty a couple days ago.
Oh my
so there's
God.
been a mutual. So, and because you know the people who run this fucking city are too fucking incompetent to provide aid, several mutual aid associations have stepped up. So anyone who donates at least $20 or more to any mutual aid fund, do so. Let me know, and I'll send you any one of my books for free, plus a random book off my shelf.
That's very
Cool.
Donate $20 or more. 20 is
Yes.
the minimum,
Yes,
and they will receive a free book of their choice of yours.
yes, plus a random book off my shelf. I need to make some room, so give some
You'll
away.
send it to them free of charge, shipping
Yep.
charge, everything.
Yep, absolutely free. Just donate $20 or more. So tip something like the Edna Griffin Mutual Aid Association, the Des Moines Mutual Aid Association, or any of the ones in your area will count too. You know, just donate to them, send me proof, and I'll send you free books.
Tell me some of these
Awesome,
charities
man.
again.
Well, one is okay, I've had a couple people give to is the Edna Griffin Mutual Aid Association, which is mostly for like food, clothing, and such, for mostly for the homeless and the underprivileged.
You're like the Bernie Sanders of being on the worst podcast in the world, Ben.
Well, I consider that a compliment. So
I'm
It was a
afraid
compliment.
I don't know the best way to word this. If you can put it down, in your own words, I can copy and paste it into the body of the
let
thing.
me find their. They're mostly active on Twitter. Let me find that, and I'll put that in the private chat.
All right.
Look at that
I'll find
kitty.
their Twitter at.
Look at that kitty. Look at
Yeah,
his
little
little
black
cheek.
boy.
His cheeks are so furry and round.
Ed, when I say like the girls in trouble blues, I also kind of feel that as far as all the trouble all the shit you have to deal with,
I'm used to it. I'm good.
I know whenever
Yeah.
whenever I show any kind of concern, they say, "Oh, she's a big girl," But I mean, don't you ever get tired of having to, walk around with your fists up? I mean,
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm moving to France. When and if COVID ever ends.